3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, hello! This is Ignacy Trzewiczek from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 271. And we are recording this on April 5th, 2023. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And I would like to announce today that the Podfather of Gaming is purchasing the Dice Tower for $1 million. I'm assuming the role of president of the Dice Tower, and my first official act is to fire Tom Bassel. Oh, in a world where that could be true. I'm joking, of course, everybody. Just joking. Don't start reporting on this. This is almost like an April 1st, April Fool's Day. We're recording it on the 5th. Someday we got to do one like that. That'll be kind of fun. Just all crazy news.
I already thought that Asmodee paid you money for your game prototype and you have some money to spend, but it's too early, okay.
Easy. They paid me at least $1 million, right? No. They don't pay particularly well. So let's start with that. Anyway, that's all I'll say. Tell us what's happening over at Portal Games before I get in any trouble here.
We pay very well, all the young designers. You can reach us. But speaking about the new designs, new games, new designers, when you are listening to this podcast, most likely our new game is on crowdfunding campaign on a GameFound site. The game in question is
Thorgal.
Can you pronounce it precisely?
Thorgal. TH. Thorgal.
Yeah, this is difficult.
It's not a Slavic moving of two letters together. You have so many consonants in that darn language, you can't pronounce the two TH together. Thorgal.
This is a Viking-themed board game. It's an adventure game with a lot of Euro mechanism, like, our designs like Robinson Crusoe, lots of adventure, but also a lot of Euro mechanism. So go to our GameFound page, check out the page, see amazing video that we have for the game, check out the reviewers, previews, rulebook, etc., etc. And this is our big campaign for this year. As for the pre-orders and street dates that are happening right now, in April, we are going to release another 2 expansions for 11. Ooh. I have them with me, 11 International Cup and 11 International Players.
Wow.
Look how smart we are that we put the expansions to distribution that start with the same title, 11 International Cup and 11 International Players. So all the retailers and distributors know they need to order international something, like whatever international, this is the new stuff. So guys, if you want to have these expansions, ask your favorite local game stores to order them from a distribution. The International Cup is only for experienced players. I want to be very honest. If you haven't played 11 too much yet, don't order it. Wait for a couple of more games. International Players, on the other side, a lot of new cards with the players, just huge replayability and not much new rules, so easy to incorporate into your games of 11.
And I'd like to point out that Ignacy is showing us the actual boxes of both International Players and International Cup and Thorgal. So you should be watching this on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel, so you can see our pretty faces and all of these new games that are not released yet.
Recording podcast with somebody so smart and intelligent like you is a real pleasure. Steven is absolutely right. Go to his YouTube channel and see these beautiful covers.
There you go.
We have on pre-order 51st State, which Steven is proudly showing and promoting. He has his copy with him. Of course, I could ask, is it still in the shrink? What the hell? Like, is it still in shrink? Not played?
It is still in shrink. I'm sorry. I have my shelf of shame. I could compare with anybody's shelf of shame. It's so big. But
I heard that we are meeting together, right?
I'm still showing this off, right? I mean, I've had this now sitting next to me for like 5 episodes. Even the ones you're not on, I still have this thing sitting here. So that means you don't want me to take it out of shrink. What you want me to do is just leave it here so that I can keep showing it to everybody.
Deal. I like this deal. So either it is in shrink and it is promoting me, either it is unshrink and it means that you played it. This is This is two options. Yeah, but on a serious note, we had a very cool moment this last week. It was 2 weeks ago. We had so many pre-orders on our website because, as always, on our website you get some additional goodies, promo items. You guys know all this jazz. And we had so many pre-orders on our website that we ran off of these additional promos, and we are now shipping them, delivering new stock to America, to Quartermaster Logistics, to our warehouse. So I want to thank all of you who decided to pre-order the copy. Obviously, if this is Ignacy, Slavic Ignacy, I would ask you, why haven't you backed it in the first place when it was on GameFound? But I appreciate all you late guys who haven't backed it on GameFound, and I appreciate your pre-orders on our website. So portalgamesus.com, get it as it lasts, because it's gonna be sold out. This is an amazing game, and the feedback so far is absolutely stunning.
I'm really gonna get to try. I'm hoping to try this 51st State Ultimate Edition with Z Garcia, who's like it's like his favorite game, and we keep talking about doing it. We haven't, so that's when I might break the shrink, when I go see him, or he comes up and sees me up here a little bit north of him.
And if the copy is at the Niagara Falls, we can play together, and I can teach you personally. It would be a blast.
That would be great. Oh, absolutely. I would love to. He won't be there, but I'll play with you. That'd be great. Cool.
So this is pre-orders and street dates, and basically, as you can imagine, we are preparing for the crowdfunding campaign. It starts April 11th, so next week as we are recording. So the whole company is talking only about Forgal. And I'm already dreaming, and these are rather nightmares, about my flight to America, because of course I don't like flying, but we are going to meet, me and Steven and Corey, at Niagara Falls very, very soon. So gonna be an amazing episode recorded from that, and we'll play together some games. It's gonna be blast.
That will be great if we get to do that. And I'm sure we will record, and I'm sure we'll spending some time together. Is Mary coming too?
Mary's coming with me, so gonna be, you will have somebody to have fun with, you will have somebody to play with,
somebody to go get drinks with. Absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. So Corey couldn't be here today, as you can see, of course, but we carry on, and let's get to what's happening at the Podfather of Gaming. First of all, my challenge of the week, I love to use these silly words that Ignacy uses. My challenge of the week is for you to go check out my new web store for Podfather merchandise. And the funny thing is, it also has Corey merchandise. There's a funny story behind that. So first of all, to find the web store, you go over to Facebook and you go find and join the Podfather of Gaming group. And a lot of people here are there already, right? I have 2,000 people in that group, which is really amazing. We just hit 2,000. Fantastic. Go there, find the group, sign up for the group, and then the featured post, one of the featured posts, top posts there is the Podfather merchandise post. There is embroidered apparel, like what you see me wearing here, these really cool embroidered shirts with the logo. And friend of the show, very good friend of mine, Marion, she put up a Etsy store, so you can get all of this stuff. You can get mugs and coasters and glassware, all of this stuff with the big, brighter Podfather of Gaming logo. Nobody's making money on any of this specifically. You know, I don't do that. I don't monetize myself. So this is just to have fun. If you're a fan of the show, fan of me over the years, if you'd like to go buy a shirt or a mug or something like that, you drink your coffee in the morning, you can think of me. I'm going to get a mug soon. I'm still using my Quarks mug here that I've been using, but mine's coming today. I ordered the most of anybody, I guarantee it, from the Etsy store already. So go check that out. Go over to the Podfather Gaming group, find the group, join the group, and then look for the featured post, and it'll point you to all of that merchandise. What else? So I have family here for the week. There, my mother stayed here at the house.
You sound so happy.
It's been a fun week in Florida with my family. So my mom, as I mentioned, from New Jersey, my youngest brother, his wife, and his 2 kids from New Jersey, and my brother, who also lives very close to me here in Florida. So we've been getting together for meals, go to the pool, the beach. We went to the beach yesterday. I actually got a sunburn, and I don't get sunburns because I live in Florida, but we were there for like 3 hours. I got a little bit sunburned. You can see a little extra red in my cheeks. We went to Lion Country Safari, which is like one of the most amazing things you can do. The animals actually just roaming around wild. Some of them come up to your car and start pecking. I had an ostrich trying to eat my face. It was really, really interesting. Having a great time with the family, but now I want them to leave out, and then I'll be more relaxed. Of course, as we mentioned already, next week, we'll have a regular recording, I guess, here from the studios. And then at the end of the week, I fly out to Niagara Falls for the Gathering of Friends. This is the annual 30 years going on. Of course, neither Ignacio and I have been going that long. It was organized by Alan Moon. Alan Moon, of course, is still going to be there, but he doesn't organize it anymore, which is amazing. He's like, I had enough of organizing this. So he's got Bobby and Craig who organize it for him too. So we're going to have some fun there. We'll do another episode there. We'll play some games there. And it's a great time where we get to see a lot of games that are going to be coming out at the end of the year, right? I mean, stuff from publishers just show up. It's not an industry event, but of course, Alan's friends have a lot of industry people. So a lot of industry people are invited there. And Ignacy might be showing off something. Can I mention the name?
Yes,
I guess I can because everybody's going to see it.
Yes, this is something I'm bringing, as you just said, like a secret prototype to play with you guys.
Can I say the name that I just saw?
Yes.
Imperial Miners. Very, very cool. So he'll be playing that. Someone might be playing a super secret prototype myself that I'll be bringing. Maybe Ignacy will play my prototype and he'll rip it apart saying it's terrible. We'll see. Hopefully I can do that. I'm going to try to get in a game a day. We'll see if that probably won't happen, but I'll be there for 11 days. So that's a lot of play testing. So hopefully we get a lot of fun with that, with gaming, with prototype stuff, and with just relaxing and chilling out. It's going to be great to see you, Ignacy. So looking forward to that. And now the event deck. So your favorite topic in the world, of course, Ignacy, is GAMA, the Game Manufacturers Association. However, while you're making faces and you're like, oh, I can't believe he's hitting me with this again, this is big. This is GAMA at its absolute best. Let me just read a quote from it's not even a press release, but it's actually been put out, but it's on the website for the University of Maryland Global Campus. And here it is. If you're a GAMA, Game Manufacturers Association member, or the spouse or legal dependent of, you can take advantage of several education benefits thanks to an alliance with University of Maryland Global Campus, a leader in online education for working adults. Save up to 25% on out-of-state tuition for most UMGC programs and get your $50 application fee waived when you apply as a new student. This benefit applies to employees of any member, such as a publisher, a store, or a corporation, etc. So this is great. I mean, now we're talking about a great benefit if you are a member of GAMA and you want to get a college education. You want to have a second college education, whatever the case may be. So think about retail store owners, right? They can now offer this to all of their employees to get college education online. And I want to make another point here before we continue, and I get you to talk about how wonderful this is. Guess who got these parties from UMGC and GAMA to start talking? Me. Guess who will not get credit for his small part in making this happen? Me. I just want to point that out. And I'm not looking for credit, but I did. The funny thing is the guy who runs this program at the University of Maryland's Global Campus, that's their online division, the guy who runs it reached out to me and he said, I listened to the show. I know you talk about GAMA all the time. I would like an introduction there if you can set something up because I have this benefit. Do you think that they'd want to talk to me? And I'm like, yes, they will want to talk to you, and this is amazing. So I set them all up And it took, like, as usual, 6 months or even more to make this happen. But they're going to be officially announcing this at the GAMA Expo, which happens at the end of April. Ignacy, admittedly, this is a good thing, right?
It is a great thing, and what
go.
bothers me, as our listeners know, why we can cover such a news once every 3 years and not every other week. Like, this is exactly what GAMA should do, and it's like the regular. Like, you guys know, I'm obsessed with education, with passing on knowledge and experience. And if I can imagine that there is at this very week and the next week and the next week tens of people who want to start a retail store, or maybe want to start in publishing, they want to study the industry, and GAMA is the organization that should provide education, resources, all the training. So this is a great direction. If we cover such a news every month, they'll be happy, Ignacy, and less complaints.
Very good. I'm glad that I was able to make you happy. And now, just to make you miserable again,
speaking about the complaints,
just to make you miserable again, GAMA elects some new board members in 2 separate elections. Why they had to do it twice, and I'm not even going to go into it. All of the board members, they do change, obviously year after year, and they've elected new members, so you don't have to go through them. But let's leave it at that. Let's leave on a happy note of Ignacy agreeing that this is an absolutely amazing thing for GAMA to do. Now, we do get to some very, very, very sad news in the game industry. And I took this and I put this like at the top. This just happened yesterday, that it was announced April 4th. It was announced. And this is the passing of Klaus Teuber, legendary designer and creator of Settlers of Catan, obviously now known as Catan. And the article is very short. It says Catan Studios published a news release announcing the passing of Klaus Teuber, the legendary game designer and creator of Settlers of Catan, at age 70. One of the most well-known game designers of the modern era passed away April 1st, 2023, after a brief and severe illness. Teuber is best known for designing the mega board game Settlers of Catan, which in later iterations simply became known as Catan. Over the course of his career in the game as a game designer, he won 4 Spiel des Jahres awards, produced such time-honored early Euro games as Barbarossa and Drunter und Drüber, repackaged as Wacky Wacky West. His legacy will always be how the popularity of his game, Settlers of Catan, especially brought Euro games into the world stage and broke open the market for so many other Euro games to be published and successful in markets beyond Europe. Catan now has over 30 expansions, has sold tens of millions of units, and is one of the most well-known board games of all time. Our condolences to the Teuber family and friends. So this is really sad. I mean, on every level, this was the game. Klaus Teuber designed the game that started in motion the hobby, right? The board gaming portion, right? We already had role-playing games. D&D was established. We obviously had
there were war games, there were Avalon Hill, but we are talking about the modern board gaming. This is Catan. End of story.
That is right. This is it. This was the game that began the whole thing, and it's very sad. And he was fairly young at 70, and they don't say what happened. It's just very sad, and I had to tell some people that knew him about this when I found out about this. This came through one way, and I reached out to Alan Moon, who didn't hear about it. So
this is obviously a sad news. But on the other hand, if you look at these, how amazing life of this person, and how proud of his achievement, and how influence he, like, think about it for the moment, because I was thinking if I should write a piece about it or not. I decided to not write any piece, but I was thinking about it. He influenced millions of people in a positive way. Like you just mentioned the how many copies of Catan has sold. Multiply each copy by 4 or 6 or 8 people. We are talking about 100 million people, 200 million people that had the joy because of what he created as a person. Like great achievement, and of course we would love him to live another 30 or 40 years. But on the other hand, I think he had a great life, and he made our life a great. So amazing.
Absolutely.
Stuff.
Fantastic. Thank you for that very brief eulogy and really driving it home. Now, into the world of crazy business numbers, how about this? Magic the Gathering's Black Lotus. One card from the Alpha set, which was the original Magic the Gathering set, sells for a record of $540,000. I mean, this is wild. This is just crazy. And in fact, I'm actually looking at another number here where it says Heritage Auction sold a graded 8.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. They grade these things. They do this for comic books as well. Magic the Gathering Black Lotus Artist Proof card signed by Christopher Rush, who was the artist, I believe, on this piece for $615,000 at a recent March 24th, 2023 auction. I'm floored. So either geeks have got a lot of money, or there are people out there who see things like this and just say, I have a lot of money and I want a piece of this kind of like thing that it's in this geek world. Absolutely astonishing.
This is super interesting question that you are asking, because this is exactly the case that maybe this is one of us, one of geeks who love play Magic, and he works in a good company and has a good salary and said, whatever, I'm buying it. Or, as you considering, maybe somebody sees this investment, a geeks culture just got stronger and stronger every year. This whole Avengers things and the whole Lord of the Rings, it is all just getting more and more valuable. And maybe somebody sees it as an investment. Like, we don't know exactly who bought it, that if he is an investor or he's just a crazy gamer, right?
We do not know. And so this at $615,000 for this 8.5 grading and that was an artist proof. Artist proofs are the ones that come off the line and they never go into circulation. And they given to the artist. Mm-hmm. He signed it, obviously, and has sold it, or he gave it to his estate. I'm not sure if Christopher Rush is still with us. There's also another one. The second highest one they mention here is a Gem Mint 10 Black Lotus with a Christopher Rush signed case. So he signed the case on this, apparently. And that one sold at auction for $510,000. Wow. I mean, amazing. I can't even fathom people who have this much money that could just buy this, I guess, and put it on their wall. Fantastic.
If you played Magic in 80s or 90s or whatever, guys, check your basement. Maybe you have some valuable card in a box somewhere.
If you've got a Black Lotus, you're gonna be buying another car with it, even if it's not in particularly good shape. An Alpha, of course, Black Lotus. So this is an interesting article that was published on Polygon.com, and it is about Frosthaven. The box was so big, of course. I just got my copy of Frosthaven, by the way, which is not being shown next to me. 51st State is Ignacy, right? So I got my box of Frosthaven. It's 34 plus pounds. And the box and what's inside was so much stuff that they hired, apparently, a submarine engineer to fit it inside the box, to calculate and figure out how it would go in. Let me read a little bit. The original campaign in a box. Gloomhaven is a big, beefy boy, and I don't just mean the 100-odd encounters that it comes with. The thing weighs a ton, coming in just shy of 18 pounds. The sequel, Frosthaven, has just finished shipping out to backers, and it's even bigger. Well, I should say heavier. While the box is only slightly taller than the original, it weighs nearly twice as much, an impressive 35.6 pounds, or roughly the same as 16 copies of Clue. I don't know why Polygon decided to use Clue as their benchmark. Whatever. How many? I'd say it's about, I don't know, 6 copies of 51st State Ultimate. I mean, it's okay. How did Cephalofair Games cram all that cardboard and plastic, including more than 2,500 cards and a 2.5-inch tall stack of 27 punch boards? the company hired a retired submarine engineer. No, really. I couldn't even get it out of the shipping container. That's how heavy this thing was. That Paula and I were like pulling at this thing. Wild that the lengths that you have to go through sometimes when you do such an unbelievable production.
I mean, this news is fun, but as we always try to be silly and educate, like you guys, our listeners, there is thought behind every step of producing board game, and also how these components will be fitting the box and how they will be organized is also part of this process. And there are people in the companies who have to plan it and design insert, whatever it is, a cardboard insert or plastic insert or whatever. We had the same with our games, and we have meetings and we have prototypes, and these companies send you a prototype and you feed everything and it doesn't fit, so you want another prototype. Like, this is a process. And for you, sometimes you go to the forums, oh, this publisher is an idiot. Like, most of these publishers spend so much time on all the different steps. Sometimes they can make mistake, obviously, but there's so much thought, and even planning how to fit everything into the box is part of the process. And for us, the same for us, for Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition, not yet released, we had a lot of meetings and prototyping how to fit it. We didn't have any help from the engineer from Submarine, so hopefully we'll be fine too. But yeah, this is a quite complex task.
It is indeed. The next news is super bad news. I mean, like, you know, I don't like to shy away from anything. It's not, it's to me, the beauty of this show, of course, and any news outlet is telling the truth. What's happened, let the facts be out there and you can judge for yourself. And I'm not going to go into the details on this because the complexity is ridiculous. It just goes on and on. So reported on Gizmodo is a story about Wormwood Gaming, excuse me, Wormwood Gaming, which makes those very beautiful tables. And they've been doing it for years. And one of the things they do in the company to promote it is they do all of this like inside the company stuff. And they put lots of these videos out about, well, this is how we're manufacturing, and the unbelievable amount of social media to unravel the onion, to open the kimono, to keep everybody informed about the silliest, smallest little details, which some people want to do. And they've got hundreds of these videos apparently out there about the company. Well, there are some serious charges about the CEO of the company and things that he has done and other people in the company and things that they have done that they then made videos about and posted those on social media as well. Sexual harassment, sexual assault accusations. Now, listen, everybody's gets a time in court, so to speak, to, you know, to, is it true? Is it not true? But you don't use it like it's something for public discussion. Something really heinous happened, possibly a crime. They end up using this like it's some kind of social media event. And that's just wrong. Guys, I don't know you personally, but you did the wrong thing here with all of this. And I have a feeling that they're not going to be able to, if more and more people find out about this, step out of this whole thing. It was an unbelievable article that I read. And if you want to read the context, and it goes on for pages and pages and pages on gizmodo.com, Wormwood Gaming. Check it out at your own leisure. Ignacy, I don't know if you have any comments on that. It's a long and sordid thing.
I'm like, at this point, I'm like speechless. Like they were posting on their YouTube videos with not super awesome things done in the company.
They were posting videos about them sitting with their lawyers and discussing like the whole thing and what to say and what to do, like making it an event instead of take this with your lawyers, and you might have to put a press release out saying we take these assurances, blah, blah, blah. But you don't make it a social media event. It's not a thing to discuss. And as a company event, it's a really bad thing, and it has to do with a crime potential.
That is
Very,
super weird.
very
No
weird.
comments from me. Like this is out of the league.
It's just insane. And if you guys want more on that, go check it out at gizmodo.com.
I prefer news about the GAMA. Even the stupidest one.
Let's get over to strategy and tactics. All right, so Ignacy, one of the things that I started doing over the course of the week is for the questions, I started marking them where they're kind of calling you out, so that if you don't appear, we want to make sure that you get a chance to talk to the fans. Of course, they want to talk to you about certain things. So as you can see, some of those things say Ignacy. And I pulled a whole bunch and I put them to the top because I know you'd be on the show. And Corey actually said, yeah, let's make sure we do that. So Ignacy gets a chance to talk when the fans want to hear from Ignacy. And the first thing is from,
that.
You're very welcome, Ignacy. You know how much I love you. The first thing here is from Kirk W. He's been giving us questions for the longest time. He's the corset maker. And he says, Ignacy, you recently mentioned that you would be speaking at a Polish book convention on the topic of designing games from books. Could you give us a short overview of your talk? Perhaps could you even post a longer video on this? I'm thinking about designing a game inspired by the works of my favorite author, Haruki Murakami, and would love to see your approach. A related question for both of you. What is your favorite book-inspired board game that doesn't reference the obvious choices of Tolkien, Lovecraft, Dune, Sherlock Holmes? What do you think?
Of course. Yeah, the seminar was 1 hour long, so of course it's impossible for me now to even make a fragment of this seminar. But the whole principle was that I designed Robinson Crusoe based on the famous novel. I designed The Witcher, the board game, based on the novel. However, I was working with CD Projekt Red, the company who did the video game Witcher. And then I did Dune, which is obviously based on the novel. However, once again, I was working with Legendary, who are making a movie. And in this speech, in this seminar, I was comparing the way you work with the IP, depending who owns the IP. So with the Robinson Crusoe, the IP obviously is open. Yes, there is a public domain, so there was no strings, there was no problems. I could do whatever I wanted. I could do any artwork, I could do any rules, I could do any flavor text on the cards because there was no Daniel Defoe watching my back. With the Witcher, we had obviously a lot of strict rules how the game has to be done. CD Projekt Red, as the owner of the IP, was responsible for the art, so I had no choice of choosing how the board looks like. I had no choice how the cover looks like because they were the publisher of the game. I was just the designer designing the game, but I had a full control over the rules. And with the Dune, the third example, I got a contract with Legendary. So I was picking the cover, I was picking the artwork, I was picking all the details, but all of that had to go through approvals process. And based on these 3 examples I was giving the listeners during this seminar, look behind the scenes how the games are designed based on how strict your IP rules are. And of course, I added a lot of anecdotes and funny stories from this cooperation. So yeah, basically, from the Dune Legendary, the most strict, to Robinson Crusoe, most open work.
And what is your favorite book-inspired board game that doesn't reference the obvious choices like Tolkien, Lovecraft, Dune, and Sherlock Holmes? Favorite game? Yes, Ignacy is now turning and trying to look at his shelf to see if he's got his favorite. I'll go first. You can keep going. So I'm going to pick, in this case, The Adventures of Robin Hood, which I've talked about recently. Yeah, I mean, it's so good. And guess what I did yesterday from the beach? I was on the beach yesterday and I ordered the expansion, which literally just released. It's called Friar Tuck in trouble, in danger. Friar Tuck's in danger. So you get to have like 4 more stories. I think the game comes with like 10 stories or 8 stories, and now you get 4 more with the expansion. It's a beautiful, brilliant, fantastic system. So that's going to be the mine that's based on a book, or stories and stuff like that. And I'll give a shout out to the Letters from Whitechapel, which is not really based on a book, but that's the one based on the Jack the Ripper stories, which are part fact, part legend. Jack the Ripper's appeared in Star Trek, so it's much bigger than the actual murders at this point. Ignacy, did you think of one?
Yeah, so was it because we have these don't reference the obvious choices, so I cannot talk Sherlock Holmes Complete Detective, I cannot talk War of the Ring, I cannot talk Arkham Horror based on H.P.
None of it.
Lovecraft, Lord of the Rings Confrontation, I get it, no. So going to the less obvious choices, I would go with the game, I don't know if you, Steven, played it, Beowulf from FFG. It was a rework of the old Knizia game called Kingdoms.
Yep.
Knizia did the game Kingdoms, and they did as a Beowulf. It's an abstract game, super simple but thinky, with the super aggressive interaction. You are blocking each other, you are scoring points with your castles. Classic Rainer Knizia, 1-page rules, 10 years of playing and mastering the game.
Yeah, you can play that game in like just sit down and start playing it, and somebody who's experienced is going to crush somebody, because it's thinky. There's a lot of little interactions. I played Kingdoms a lot. I played a little bit of Beowulf back in the day. Good choice. Marco Dobranic, he's Matto78. He often contributes. Question for Ignacy: would it be easier and more affordable to run Portal games if Poland had euro as their money? When does Poland plan to change their money to euro? In which currency do firms have to do their accounts? Do you have to have in every currency in every country? Oh, do you have to have money in every currency and or in every country? So go ahead. I'm sure I can add a little bit to what you're going to say.
Yeah. We mentioned this a couple of times already in the podcast. So Portal Games has to have, I mean, maybe not has to, but I decided to have 3 accounts. So we have account in euro, we have account in the US dollars, and we have account in Polish zloty. And depending on our partners, we get these invoices in different accounts. And as long as we can, we try to not exchange currency. Like I try to have not to provide the banks their margin for exchanging. So we quite successfully try to keep our money, our cash in 3 different currencies, and it will be so much easier if we don't have a Polish zloty involved in this equation, because it is the weakest of these currencies. It is the most dependent on the changes of the currency. So Polish zloty basically not your best currency in the world.
Well, right, because it's just only used there, right? Of course, and when you have to pay a bill anywhere else in the world, not to your employees, you pay them in zloty, I'm sure, but you pay a bill, you have to pay it in something else. And at Stronghold Games, I maintained, you can say, 2 accounts. U.S. banks essentially are only going to have U.S. dollar-based accounts. I banked through a financial institution, Fidelity Investments. It's a very big money manager. You could do this, Goldman Sachs, all these kind of things could have this. And then you can, because they're happy to maintain an account for you, or it's basically looks like an investment. I own Apple stock, I own euros. So I would have euros and I would have dollars. And again, just like Ignacy, you try not to do much changing. If I have to pay someone euros, I would pay them out of my euro account. Most of the time, I wouldn't have euros for that long, so I would have to convert from dollars to euro and then wire it out. That's what I have to do most of the times. China takes dollars. Now they do, at least. So when you're paying the Chinese printers, you're paying in dollars. Most of the European printers, even in Poland, right? They will take euros. They're not expecting.
Correct.
They're not expecting someone on the continent who normally deals in euros to pay in zloty, so they will have the same. I have to pay someone in Europe or in Poland or any other place, I might be paying them in euros. So it's a very good question. And the quick answer to the question of when is Poland going to change their money, that is absolutely not up to Poland. I'm pretty sure that is up to the European Union and the Central Bank of Europe to make a decision, and with a little bit of input, of course, from the Polish government as well. So I don't know if that was ever on the table for Poland to be part of that. Was
it
it?
was on the table around 8 years ago, and then we
Okay.
changed the government, and then things collapsed terribly.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Yeah, it's always obviously a conversation between the regulating body and the individual currency. So Poland's part of the Eurozone, right? So you have free trade among that. You just don't use the currency of most
Correct.
of the countries. There
Correct.
you go. Always educating people here in world finances. Peter Van Hook, he asks, he's at Pieter VH. Hello, Ignacy and Steven. Congrats on reaching 250 episodes and counting.
Thank you.
I have a Slavic question, so I guess I know where this one's going. Something in the crowdfunding world disturbs me. Outrageous shipping prices. In my opinion, a crowdfunding campaign is very profitable, certainly when an established game publisher uses crowdfunding platforms as some sort of pre-release. They can skip the whole distribution chain, distribution companies and game stores to sell the final product to full MSRP to the end consumer. Still, we pay a huge amount of shipping costs while there are already a lot of costs being skipped. Am I missing something? P.S. I wrote this question when shipping prices for containers have already dropped, so this shouldn't be a factor. So do not put that into your answer, Ignacy. So how would you like to address Pieter's?
Yes, Peter, you are missing something. That is true. So let me start with the
yes, you are missing.
Let me unpack it step by step. So first of all, I don't know for all of the publishers. I don't know what is the experience with Steven and his work, but Portal Games, when we run a Kickstarter, when we give you the shipping costs, they are lower than actual cost. So we, knowing that for all of you it is so painful. So for instance, if the actual shipping cost, I'm making up right now the numbers obviously, if the shipping cost is 17 euro, we will put in this table for the backers 15 euro. Like we will do this 2 euro for you, just for your convenience, so you see the nice number looking, and it will be most likely that you will back the project. As you just mentioned, yes, you're backing the project, we will get money from you for the game, so we will help a little bit with the prices. So if you look in the actual prices and how we charge you, in most cases we are losing some money. This is first thing to unpack. The second thing to unpack, we are not making these prices. I'm saying it once again. This is UPS, this is postal services. We are just taking money from you and giving this money to them. And
exactly.
As I mentioned, we are adding even more from our money. And as we discussed it previously in the podcast, take the map of the world, look where you live, look where is China, and count the distance, and see this is a long distance from this game to get from China to Europe or to America to the hub, and then from the hub in Texas or Florida to your place in Wisconsin or whatever. Like these are like thousands of miles, guys. There's no teleportation. Yeah. So if we charge you 20 bucks, if we charge you 20 or 30 bucks to take a game from some small village in China and deliver it across the whole freaking globe to your home somewhere in Missouri, and it takes only 20 bucks, like really? Like
you know a lot about the states. You know you can probably name more states than half of the Americans, which is very, very, very sad. But Ignacy's point is very well taken, and back to Peter's portion of his question about, oh well, you know, the shipping prices out of China have already come down. Peter, that doesn't go into the shipping costs passed on to you. That cost goes into the MSRP of the game, you can say. It goes into what's called the fully landed cost or cost of goods on your balance sheet, right? So, so we produce a game. I'm making up numbers again. We produce a game. We got to pay China $5 each one of those games. They put them in a container. They put 10,000 units in the container, and that container costs $10,000 to get here. One more dollar, right? Per unit in there. Now we have an asset of $6 sitting on our balance sheet. we create the MSRP based on that cost. So that part's already taken care of. Now, it's sitting in a warehouse in Poland and in PSI in Georgia or some other place in the Midwest in the US, a really good place to put them because that's the central part, right? If you're going to ship to North America to the US.
Many Kickstarter goes from QML, who dominated the market, and QML is in Florida and is one of the biggest hubs in America, right?
QML is a very large thing, and they're exactly in the worst possible place in the United States to have a warehouse, right? It's Florida, which is hanging off the edge of the United States. The best place, technically, to have a hub would be in the Midwest, right? In the big expanse in the middle of the country. A lot of companies are now moving warehousing to Indianapolis or that area. Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is near, about 2 hours drive, something like that. Anyway, long story short, companies like Portal Games and Stronghold Games, we tell you what the price to ship it is. We do a blended price most of the time. So it's like within the US, right? Even if it's going to take, UPS is going to charge me, I'm making up numbers, $8 to ship it from my warehouse in Georgia. That's where I used to have it, right? In PSI. They're going to get $8 to go from that place to a local place in Atlanta, and they're going to charge me $20 to ship it across the country. We blend the price and we create a price for everybody, and we take something off of that. So in most cases, because we want you to get the games, and yes, we're making a little bit extra. Amazon, in the US at least, has completely ruined people's perception of shipping costs. You know that?
Free shipping is a lie. There is no free shipping.
It's a lie.
Somebody else is paying for this shipping. It is not free. Somebody else paid for it.
Free shipping is a lie. It's like Soylent Green. Do you remember that movie? Is a lie. It's people. It's a lie. They pay for it, but they're a trillion-dollar company at this point, and they can absorb that cost to sell more product, right? So it's a lie. We don't try to harm you. It's all that we can do. We have to make money, and we give you more things when it comes through the system of Kickstarter or crowdfunding. We give you more, right? The publisher's always giving you more, and if more, in some cases, is just the game before anybody else gets it, right? So there's many benefits. If you don't want those benefits and you want to have Amazon ship it to you, you wait until it's on Amazon or Miniatures Market or wherever you like to get your games. Just buy games. We like you buying games. Portal Games, like 51st State right here. Great question. Let's get on to playtesting. So last week, we had a question that Corey put up, and it was very thought-provoking, I thought. And he said, I was just watching the Chip Theory Elder Scrolls campaign, which is now at $2 million after day one. I have not looked. Maybe Ignacy can look this up as I'm reading. What is their Elder Scrolls campaign at now? It was $2 million after one day. How long do you think it will be before a crowdfunding campaign breaks the almost $13 million record held by Frosthaven? Ignacy.
It's 2.7 right now after a week.
Oh, so it really slowed down significantly, but still an amazing amount of money, of course. So Ignacy, when do you think? So Corey, I had said it's going to happen by 2025, and Corey said within 6 months. What do you think? When do you think we will see a $13 million Kickstarter again? I'll keep talking until you say something.
No, I'm thinking because on one hand, it is for all of us, it's like having a new champion, having a new winner. There is like this competition, and we're always looking for the new winner or whatever. It is a new Michael Jordan, or it is a new whatever, right? But $13 million for the board game for our industry, it's not something that we can say, oh, the next year, or there'll be a new record in the next year. No, a new record in 12 or 6 months. Like, I don't see it. Like, this is ridiculously high number. Like,
yeah.
So on one hand, we may say that at some point somebody will have a more successful Kickstarter, but I don't see it like that.
So Corey pointed out that Cephalofair Games is about to come out with a set of miniatures for all of it. Like you can go and you can back miniatures that you'll have instead of the standees. I mean, that could do it. Who knows? And that's why Corey put up his thing for only a few months, and I said 2025. So let's take a look at the what people actually said. Ignacy, anything you want to call out here? I think this one from Gavin is the best one of all. Do you see Gavin's? I'll say it. Gavin Kenny says, it depends how long until Firehaven or Earthhaven gets launched. Because that, if he does another, one of these huge campaign games, that could be. Or there could be backlash at that point. Like people say, like, I haven't touched Frosthaven. I'm still working on Gloomhaven. I can't have another one. You never know. But I think this answer definitely has some merit. Or the one about, well, I'm going to get miniatures for everything that he's already done. Everything Cephalofair's done, all of their games, you get miniatures for everything. You use those instead of the standees. What else you got, Ignacy? Anything you like here?
Yeah, so some of our listeners says that it will not happen. Some of them make fun that it is only New Gloomhaven may do it. Eric says Anders Brandon Sanderson, this famous science fiction writer, if he puts out a board game, combine fan base of the Sanderson and combine the fan base of the board gamers may do it. But yeah, basically, as I can see, the comments are skeptical. Like this is not easy to go over this $30 million. I myself had a super successful Kickstarter for Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition, and it was like epic, and it was not even a 3 million. So like 13 is like the abstract number. Let's face it.
Yeah, my buddy Hanorama, Han is a great guy. He says my favorite Bonacore, which is my brother, not me. He's talking about my favorite Bonacore, your brother. And I will agree on this one that he's taking the under. And of course, my brother's a big gambler. It will never hit $13 million. That's his bet. I think that's very possible. 13 million is just crazy. Ignacy, what's your question that you brought here? I love this. This is staying within the family here on this next one.
My question exactly is once again about the crowdfunding, and this is and I'm serious with this question. So I really appreciate if you, our listeners, go to our guild and spend these 2 minutes typing the answers, because I really am eager to learn and to get some feedback from you, to learn something. And it is about my new crowdfunding campaign. I'm going with the Thorgal. We just mentioned it at the very beginning of the podcast, and on April 11th I go with the Thorgal. And my question for you is, what's your take on the brand new portal game titled Thorgal? Don't you care at all? Are you curious? Maybe it's an instant buy for you. And what will you do? Watch a video, read the rulebook? So what is your plan for this crowdfunding campaign run by your beloved podcaster, that is me? So yeah, that sometimes Steven was putting out the games, some not these days. I'm putting out the games, so you have some emotional connection, I guess, with us. And now I'm putting a game on a crowdfunding. This is something that you don't care, or maybe you will. I will look at, because I like Ignacy, so I will at least give a look. Yeah. Like, so what is your plan for this action? Will you spend this couple of minutes just browsing the page to see what Ignacy has in store?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I'll answer, but I have a different take than the average gamer out there. Is that I'm curious, right? That would be me. So I will go when this thing launches. I'll go look at it. I'll go look at your videos. I'll go look at the whole thing. I'll probably skim the rulebook, maybe, but I'll definitely watch any video associated, because I want to know about it. And it's a Viking game, which sounds really cool to me, but I don't know much about this, so it makes me curious. So that would be my answer. Of course, you can't answer. Your answer is you need this to fund. So that's all right. In the meantime, we'd like to know from everybody out there, what is your take on the brand new Portal Games title Thorgal, and what will you do upon launch of that crowdfunding campaign, which will be on GameFound coming up. By the time you hear this, it'll be on crowdfunding. So you go check it out on GameFound. Meanwhile, Ignacy right now is going to create a thread on our Facebook guild, so you can answer it. And then Facebook group. Did I say Facebook? Board Game Guild, the Board Games Insider podcast.
Board Game Geek Guild.
Okay. The BGG Guild for Board Games Insider.
Stop sabotaging my question.
I think people know. If they don't know by now where to go, we have a real problem out there.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. Anybody, as Ignacy is making this question and putting it out there, let's get to final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or you can now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of the podcast, you can ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment and our play testing segment. We want your answers. Post them in the correct threads in the guild at Board Game Geek. Check out our websites, which are portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com, and dicetowerdish.com. We're all over social media, so please interact with us on Facebook. Please like our pages, which are /BoardGamesInsider, /PortalGamesUS, and /PodfatherGaming. You can speak directly to Ignacy, Corey, and Steven on Twitter and Instagram, which is at PortalGamesUS, at PodfatherGaming, at Dice Tower Dish, and at Dice Tower Now. And the very active YouTube channels are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. On TikTok, Ignacy's there, Portal Games US. We really would love to see you in person at an upcoming convention in 2023. So if you come to one of these that we talk about, please do find us. Let's chat. We really live for this. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Joshua Bowman from Tabletop Submarine Podcast. If you want your podcast edited by Joshua, you can reach him and discuss that at tabletopsubmarine@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing the intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, I don't have anything else. I've already reported what I had here up top. What?
I can tease you, because it's the part of the podcast when we tease during the GAMA trade show at the end of April, we will announce a new game from Portal Games.
Oh.
So stay tuned. Today we are discussing the company that yes, we will pick this data, the GAMA trade show, as our press release date. So stay tuned. Something new is coming.
Are you going?
I'm not going. We will just send a press release. We will do some online activities, but no, I'm not going. Probably next year.
Yeah, it's funny. This year, it would have been actually kind of easy because it's right after the Gathering of Friends. You could have flew out.
If I planned it better, that would be the case. Yes.
If you planned it better, you could have done that. And next year they do move the GAMA trade show, GAMA Expo, they call it now, to Tennessee, which makes it at least a little bit less of a flight for you. Not a lot less. It's still most of the flight you have to make anyway. Anyway, everybody, thank you for listening. We really appreciate that. Please tell people about us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.